told them to do, which was to take care of their little group that they were going to go and minister to. Think about this, folks. I'm not just talking about the biscuits here. I'm talking about you. What may seem as an insignificant seed in your hands when given to another ministry does not create the bountiful harvest just because of that. You can give to a ministry who does nothing with your seed except hoard it. What would have happened if the boy gave his 5 biscuits and 2 fish to the disciples, and the disciples went behind the rock and says, "This is all there is. Let's go ahead and eat while Jesus finishes ministry." And they just had something to eat themselves. Would that boy have received his harvest? Later on, we read 12 basketfuls of fragments. Would that boy have received a harvest? No. Because he gave it to unscrupulous disciples. There are unscrupulous pastors and ministries and churches who really do not care for the needs of the people. They care about you giving to them. You'll even hear pastors talk about, you do not need to sow to ministries. You need to sow into the church. We are here in this community to minister to you. You need to support our church. There are even churches, I've seen them, been in them, and heard them actually say this. You do not need to sow into other ministries. If you want us to sow into another ministry, some of the offerings that you give, write on the envelope. So let's say you're sowing $50 into the offering plate. Write on the envelope, please sow some into XYZ ministry. They will. They'll probably give a tithe, which is $5 out of your 50. They'll send it off to a ministry. I can guarantee you that 90% of the time, that is what is going to take place. We are giving a tithe. They're not giving a tithe out of the entire offering. Let's say they take in $2,000. They're not sending that ministry $200. No, you wrote on your envelope, please send an offering to such and such. They'll send them a tithe off of your offering, $5. Now, God has the capability of multiplying that $5 hundreds of times over in your behalf. Wouldn't it make a lot more sense that if it is your desire that half your offering go to the work of the church and half of it to another ministry, that you just sow $25 into each? That's what Jesus did. He broke the biscuits and distributed it and then told the disciples, go and do the work. Take it to the people. Minister to the people. He didn't give it to Peter. He said, Peter, here's the 10 halves of a biscuit, and we broke up the 2 fish. Here, go take care of the people. And put it all in Peter's hands. And then Peter's like, okay, come here, guys. Here's some for you and some for you and some for you. Now go take care of that. No, Jesus took the offering, distributed it himself to those who were going to do the work. He had 12 disciples. He had over, we'll just say 70 followers. The 12 apostles later, that was the inner circle. Actually, the inner circle was Peter, James, and John. The disciples were part of the inner circle. Those are the ones he was giving the provision to. And he had, 70 followers that were part of his group, we could say. This is such a sticking point with a lot of pastors and churches. They don't want you supporting any other ministries but theirs. They don't want you supporting any other churches but theirs. Oh, God help you if you give them $50 in the Sunday morning offering plate and go to a special meeting and sow $100 into the guest minister or whatever. Let's say Sunday morning you sow 50, Sunday night at a special service where a guest speaker's coming, you sow 100. Now you might say, they'll tell you, just write the check out to our church, we'll give it the offer. They notice. Oh, they may not say anything, but they notice. Wait a minute now. So-and-so gives us $20 a week. And hey, they're sowing into this guy $100? Why can't they give us the $100 and then sow 20 into this guy? Not every pastor or church is going to say that or think that, but it's out there. Money is such a controlling factor, and the many churches are so focused. And I mean, let's look at it from their perspective for a minute. It costs money to run a church. I guarantee you, it costs money to run a church. Been there, done it. If you do not support the local church, it will close. Many pastors and ministers take nothing from the ministry. They work secular jobs. They still do the work of the ministry because all the offerings are going to support the work of the ministry. That's okay. It'd be great if every church and every ministry could support their pastor. I think that is an admirable goal. But to limit the people from not giving to other ministries, for frowning upon that, for ridiculing people who do, they may not do it publicly, but word will get back that the pastor's not pleased when you give to other ministries and not support the entire work of the church. Well, I mean, after all, we want to remodel the building. We want to get new flowers. We want to go on a retreat. We want to take the leadership team on vacation. The pastor needs a vacation. It's the pastor and his wife's anniversary. We want to give them good, excuse after excuse after excuse. The problem occurs when the church is the one controlling your seed. Hear me. The miracle occurred with the disciples when they took the provision Jesus had distributed to them. That's where the miracle occurred. That's where the multiplication occurred, is in the distribution to other ministers. Remember the word, some of you may not realize this, that word minister comes from the root word meaning waiter. Think about your waiter or waitress at the restaurant. That's the role of a minister. A good waiter or waitress will constantly come in and check on you. You are there. They're ministering to you. They're taking care of your needs. Could I get some more water, please? They go get it and bring it back. This meat isn't quite cooked all the way through. Can you take it back? And they do so, and they bring it back. The waitress and the waiter is there to minister. They are to be a minister to you while you are in that restaurant. A minister of the gospel is to minister to your needs, to wait on you, help fulfill your needs while you are under their care. So, the provision given to you by God, he who ministers both seed for your sowing and bread for your eating. You have a job. God's blessed you with a job. You are trading your time to this company. You are ministering for this company. They in return sow financially into your life. The amount of time you sow, the amount of work you sow, the skills you sow for and in behalf of that company is multiplied back to you financially. that company is sowing financially into your life. If you want to truly be blessed, you need to take some of what you sow and sow it into your church or other ministries. You sow it, it is now a blessing to the company, because if the company, we could take this all the way back. The company is ministering to a need in the community. I don't care if they're selling socks. People need socks so they don't get blisters when they wear their shoes or cuts on their feet by going barefoot. They need socks. They minister to that need of providing socks to the community. The community purchases these socks at a profit to the company, and the company uses those profits to produce more socks, maybe into a line of shoes or something like that. But it allows the company to prosper. When they prosper, they have to hire people to help them minister to the needs of the people. That's where you come in. So you, by working for that company, is helping the company minister to the needs of the people, who is blessing the company, and in return, the company blesses you. That's the twice sown seed. You take part of that financial blessing. You sow part of that into your church or into a ministry. That ministry is taking that seed they received from you, which came from the company. That means now the twice sown seed, your company is going to prosper. Your company prospers, they're able to be more of a blessing to you and more of a blessing to the community. And it's just a cycle that goes on and on. These churches and ministries take the seed you have provided to them, and they identify needs in the community that they can now minister to. And let's just say 50% of the offering is used for the benefit of the church, keep the lights on and the water on and purchase supplies and things like that. The other 50% of the offering is used to minister to the needs of others. So they take 25% of that and feed directly into the outreaches the church is directly responsible for. The other 25%, they sow, or even 10%. We'll do, because people talk about the tithe all the time. They take 10% of the monies they receive and they distribute it to other ministries. That means if they support 10 other ministries, they'll take 1% and that set aside to be sown into the ministries. So if $1,000 a week comes in, $500 a week goes into the church to minister to church needs, $500 a week goes into the outreach aspect, 25% or $250 goes into the direct outreaches that they participate in. And the other 25% is going to $250, is going to the 10 ministries they support. So each one gets like $20, $25. That's how it's supposed to work. So many churches, when they start hitting like $10,000 a month, man, we're going to give $2,500 to all these different ministries. You realize what we could do with that $2,500? After a year, we could get the parking lot repaved. After 2 years, we could get a new roof on the building. We need to stop sowing into these other ministries, start taking care of our house here. We need to start taking care of ourselves. And that's when the church starts going downhill. People do the same thing. They start off, when they're born again, they hear about tithing. It's a step of faith. It's going to hurt, but I get $1,000 a week. I have to give $100 a week to the church. They start doing that, and all of a sudden the blessings start materializing. People are sowing into their life. They get a promotion at work. They get back an unexpected tax refund. Oh man, this is awesome. They get a promotion. Now their tithe, let's just say, is $200 a week. Man, I remember when $100 a week was hard, but I can do that now easy. Tell you what, God, I'll do 120 a week. I don't want to let the church think that I'm, trying to be all that. And They start the process of withholding from God. Been there, done that in my life as well. When you start withholding, you're hoarding. When you're hoarding, you're not a distribution point. When you're not a distribution point, there is nothing there for God to bless. Think of a farmer who takes in his harvest, and instead of taking the best of the seed and setting it aside for next year, decides he's going to sell it all because he wants to buy a new car and he needs extra money. Springtime rolls around, there's nothing in the silo for him to plant. What's he going to do? There's no harvest for that year coming in, other than a few scraggle seeds that may have fallen in the ground during the harvest season. And now his